back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Welcome back to the program. Joining us from Neurokinetics Clinic in Vancouver, Philippe Silvestre and Sonia Dale. We're talking about the brain and what can be done for those who have suffered traumatic brain events. And we're focusing on this particular episode of Boomer Life on migraines. And Dr. Philippe, we were talking a little earlier about the assessment process and how you like patients who come to Neurokinetics for that first visit and the brain optimization consultation process to bring along as much medical background and history as they can with them. It's also highly recommended wherever possible to bring along a friend or family member. But what happens in the case of someone who's very, very keen to participate and become a patient, but doesn't have that sort of human resource capacity in their life? They don't have a backup person to assist them through this. Is there's anything you can do for a solo flying person? You former French pilot, you appreciate solo people. How about support services for people who arrive and are intending to go forward basically by themselves?
Yes, mostly with respect to severely incapacitated people, patients. We have designed a position in our team called peer mentor.
A peer mentor,
okay.
Peer
mentor.
Right?
Peer mentor here applies to patients. Peer mentor.
Okay.
So it is a person who is designated to or assigned to a patient coming solo, as you mentioned, and will basically figuratively hold the patient's hand through the process from A to Z in order to assist and being a second memory backup about all the exchange of data information which is mutual, and also to answer questions which relates to technicalities relating to administration points, to the assessment, to the treatment, and the evolution. It is not uncommon that patients experience through our treatment, assessment sometimes, but treatment mostly, significant changes which are kind of put them in transiently in a scary place, even when those changes are good. But they have been brainwashed somehow on nothing could happen to them no longer, even though with the hope of getting better, and this is why they came to see us. So there is a paradox here between what they attempt to reach, which is getting better, is a kind of internal conflict with what they were told by outsiders, such as medical practitioners or other entourage advisors.
Oh, so this goes back to Sonia's point earlier. When they call up, they say, well, I've had numerous encounters with the medical types, and they've all said rest. Take pharmaceuticals available at the drugstore and rest. And rest. And that's about it.
Yeah. And I would say it goes beyond the medical. Medical practitioners do the best they can.
Of course.
It is a knowledge, and we all know that. It's a matter of, open-mindedness and mindset, but competency is usual there. The thing is, those people are left alone, and without any reference. And the only reference they retain is a strong recommendation and statement that nothing else will be able to help them.
Right.
And that is very disturbing, and it begins to conflict when those people experience some changes. So everything what was, all the references they were given go upside down, and they find themselves transiently without any solid reference.
So they're confused.
This is where there's a big confusion. And there's a big unsettled, they're unsettled.
Even though it's a good confusion, because I was told by I don't know how many doctors that I'm probably never going to get better. The best I can do is manage this. And all of a sudden, I'm in an environment where people say, you can get better.
Yeah, and they get better.
And they do.
And
but
that
because you've become accustomed to not, and thinking that I'm never going to get better for so long, getting better is confusing.
And creates anxiety, actually, temporarily.
Right.
So this is why we have this peer mentorship program,
Interesting.
which is a reference, and that person is at hand to answer any further questions that will arise.
Well, as long as we're talking about getting better, and we're talking about migraines in the same sentence, is there such a thing as a cure for migraines, Dr. Philippe?
Well, as a doc, I don't like the word cure because it is very ambitious. Cure means you have got the ultimate goal of being of perfection in all aspects. And I like the word, but it's a dangerous word as far as my discipline is concerned.
Okay.
I prefer to say patient satisfaction with respect to their own goals and objectives, and tying with their lifestyle, their professional performance, personal performance of all kinds. So I would prefer that word, which is more realistic. But of course, cure is a noble word, and we all tend to that in our medical profession.
But okay, not the semantics of the word cure aside, do people actually completely recover from conditions where they were suffering from frequent migraines that were incapacitating? Do people actually get better?
Short answer, most of the patients who came for migraines are migraine-free.
Wow.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, we just follow physiology as far as assessment is concerned, and the treatment protocols are designed to, with respect to the assessment data we collect.
Now, you were saying that a migraine typically is a symptom of something greater, and that the migraine was originally set up by some sort of traumatic event in one's life that leads down the road to the migraine condition. So when you try these, when you enter after the assessment process that Sonia has described for us, once the treatment begins, is that what you try to do? Backtrack to that traumatic event and then sort of mend it out from there?
Well, Sterling, are you ready to come and work with us? You have the right mindset.
So I was just following what you were saying, and it seemed to be the only logical possibility.
It makes total sense.
Okay. So in some cases, that unraveling, I would imagine in some cases, Philippe, the traumatic event in question is not even consciously remembered by some people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how do you get to that?
Well, there are different ways. Remembering history happens, may take sometimes a long time, and sometimes people actually remember what happened after the treatment program is over.
Okay.
Because they have recuperated what was missing relating to the cognitive processing underlying their memory circuit, to be figurative a little bit here. And so this is one example.
So it doesn't always follow the same path necessarily.
Yes.
Even though you may try the same method, it produces different results each time.
Absolutely. And this is why the best way to summarize what we do is we follow physiology and enhance it back to restoration.
Right. Sonia, we talked about the likelihood that after the assessment process and the treatment plan has been mapped out, we now have a strategy, we have a game plan. That is not likely going to end after a couple of occasions. It's taken you years to get to this stage in your life. It's taken you quite some time to even find neurokinetics after going around and around and around. So it's probably going to take a while to get through the unraveling process that Philippe just discussed. So typically then, for a person who comes to you with severe migraines, regular severe migraines, how long a process of treatment is it likely to take for that person to reach the point of satisfaction rather than cure, which our doctor friend does not like?
Well, as results are based on per individual, I would say the average treatment program that we would have is about 12 weeks.
Okay.
That's the best way for me to describe it. Like I said, two people together can come in for a migraine. Their individual results do vary. One could probably be done in 10 weeks. The other could be done in 12.
Right.
So approximate would be at least a minimum of 12 weeks, I would say.
Okay. And how many occasions per week, Philippe, during that, say, 12-week session plan that you've organized for that patient?
Okay, first I would like to continue to precise further what Sonia explained very well about these 12 weeks bar.
Okay.
There is a reality, there is a physiological reality, and which is now well understood and emerge in medical mindsets about the stabilization. What is required to stabilize a given condition?
Okay.
It takes 12 weeks, 90 days as it takes for a little chick, a little egg to form a chick, take 21 days, as everybody knows. Well, to stabilize and restore and stabilize a complex condition which is not limited by the existence of damage, whether in the brain or outside,
right,
that would limit or prevent the full restoration, functional restoration of a complex condition. It takes 12 weeks to restore and stabilize such a condition. And that is a minimum.
Right.
So it is, we cannot change that. So our program, as Sonia explains very well, are at least 12 weeks. Most of the time, our patients hit the 12-week bar very successfully.
Right.
Some require a little bit more care. It depends on the complexities. It depends on the fragility of the patient.
Sure.
What has been also given treatment-wise, which needs to be progressively withdrawn, weaned off, and that may also be factors of delay in the process. But 12 weeks is the minimum bar we have.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought, given the complexity of the condition and the fact that in many of your patients this has been going on for years, if not decades.
Exactly.
That turnaround in 12 weeks is frankly quite remarkable.
Sometimes it's earlier than that, but we need still to stabilize that configuration, that new configuration at 12 weeks. So what happens is the number of stimulations required will be higher at the beginning and will be fading away through those 12 weeks.
Oh, okay. Interesting
stuff.
That
is the pattern.
Let me take a quick break here and we'll come right back. Our guest is the president and founder of Neurokinetics Health Clinic. Philippe Silvestre is with us, and clinic manager Sonia Dale is also here from Neurokinetics Clinic, which is in downtown Vancouver, and the Highcroft Medical Building on Granville Street at 3195 Granville, right there at 16th, just on your way up the hill, heading out of town. We're back with more right after this.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.